I'm here to see Kevin Smith. I purchased the book. Now I'm heading upstairs to get autograph. Stay tuned for more.
Inside the stall, lock that, slide your foot under the fucking stall against the door to hold it, and go, all right, I'm here. Boom, she mounts you fuck in the Denny's bathroom, right there in the toilet while people are banging on the door, and the old couple are probably telling the fucking waitresses and shit. And that's how you have to feel about your art, man. I was the guy that was like, let's just do it at home. We'll be home in 20 minutes. We'll do it in the bed like civilized people. You're not civilized with your art. It's dangerous. It's weird. I was at a place, at one point where I was like, oh man, I gotta please as many people as possible. Bullshit. That's not art. Art doesn't please everybody. You know what? It can't be art. If there's universal agreement with it, one way or the other, it ain't gonna be art. It's gotta upset some people, whether you intend to or not. It's mostly gotta upset you. You can't do that kind of shit easily. The good shit don't come when it comes easy. Essentially we gotta work for it. Necessity being the mother of invention, things just fucking improve. And if you want it more, it's gonna be better. I don't know how else to explain that. It's just look at my body of work. The ones that you fucking love are the ones where I was just like, you don't even have to pay me to make this movie. I'll fucking do it. And chances are I probably didn't get paid to do that fucking movie. That's where the good shit comes from. So I got to a place where I was like, career management, I don't want to do this anymore. I was on Zach and Miri's set. I was just like, man, this is now me. I love this movie. I love Zach and Miri, don't get me wrong. But this is me regurgitating my own fucking history. I've run out of anything new to say that I'm just reaching back to the story of how Clerks happened and recasting it through a pornographic prism where Scott Loader is a girl that I actually fucked. That's a wonderful, fun movie and stuff, but that's not the movie. The kid who saw Slacker was like, one day I want to make that. That's a dude who's just like, I'm treading water. What should I do next? So that to me is not the cat I want it to be. I just wanted to be the dude that burned bright and hot and stuff. And I did for a long time. And then reached a point in 2007, 2008, around Zach and Miri, where I was like, I'm empty. I have no stories. No stories left to tell. I've been living outside of the real world since 1994 when Clerks got picked up. So like by the time I get to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I start making movies about making movies. That's fucking death to a creative talent. That's kind of admitting right then and there, we're like, sorry, I'm out of ideas right now. Let me just pick the bones of my real life. So I don't know, I got to a place where I was like, is it more important to stick around and do it? You win the golden fucking ticket and shit, and it's a great job, don't get me wrong, and nothing fucking beats getting paid to make pretend for a living, but I didn't do it for the money, and don't get me wrong about that. I'm as capitalistic as the next fucking dude. I love making money, but that's not the key motivator. And that wasn't the key motivator that got me into film. It sure was keeping me in film and stuff. And I sat down with him, I said, did you read the script? And he goes, nope, don't need to. I said, why? He goes, because I saw a movie this weekend with Bruce Willis and that had your name on it, so I know you can make movies. And he wrote me a $2.5 million check. So right then and there, I was like, that's why I fucking made Cop Out. Many fucking reasons. I actually enjoyed Cop Out quite a bit. Learned a bit on it, and learned one very key lesson. Fucking be careful what you wish for. So Red State was part 2. Last one will be Hit Somebody Up, part 3. And we're still toying with that in terms of what it will be. But that to me is kind of go out very hardcore. Go out all art for art's sake and shit like that. Like Red State was such a beautiful experience from the fucking moment we started making it all the way up to taking it out, all the way to DVD and shit like that. It was just artsy fartsy and fun, man. It was like summer arts camp that moved from place to place and shit. It was a good time. So stuff like that is what kind of fires me up now. The idea of like, the old way was very like, hey, we're gonna make something, we'll put it there, and you fucking go see it and pay for it, and I'm not gonna be there, but tell me if you liked it on the internet or something like that. Now I kind of like to say, hey, we're going here either by ourselves to talk or with a movie or something like that. Come on by if you want to fucking hang out and shit like that. We'll be in your neck of the woods. So it becomes a little more specialized. Back in the day, you expected the audience to live on your time, and they still do in the fucking studio system. They carpet bomb advertise to let people know a movie's coming out. That's the thing, they can't convince you to go, but you fucking damn if you don't know when that movie's happening. That's for film. Because they pay you a lot of fucking money to make pretend. It's like heroin. I used to laugh at fucking Muse. He couldn't fucking dump heroin all that time. I was like, come on, dude, you're stronger than that. I couldn't dump the movie business, man. I was just like, oh, the money's too good. That's the same fucking thing. I had to wean myself off of dependency because I was like, if I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, not make films, I gotta figure out how to pay for all this shit that I've been paying for with movies. And that's where all the Smodcast stuff came from. I started going, well, I'll just make a bigger road presence. make the live shows bigger. We'll attach shit to it like movies and blah, blah, blah. I'll head over here and write a book or fucking do this. Anything to kind of wean myself off the dependency of like all that movie money, which is glorious. And again, it's not like people. I was a filmmaker and still am for a little bit. But I chose an art form, and I didn't choose it, it kind of chose me, or it seemed like the one to get in through. It seemed like there was a, you know, there's always a front door, and everyone's trying to cram through the front door. Film seemed like it had excellent back doors and windows and shit like that. So I chose film, and the weird thing about it is I chose a very massive, fucking Titanic-like art form that can't make short turns. It has to make turns 2 miles out. You know, if I was a painter, I could take a blank canvas, throw some color on it and shit, hold it up to you, and you'd know how I felt inside. That would be my self-expression right there. You'd go, oh my God, he's blue, or he's fucking orange, or he's squares and triangles and shit like that. If I was a singer, I would open my mouth, you would hear me emote, and you would just be like, oh my God, he's feeling wonderful, he's all fucking painted inside and shit, or whatever. But no, I'm a filmmaker, which means I'm one of the only artists on the planet that says, I need to express myself. Quick, give me $20 million and Ben Affleck now. You know, and that's just like, you don't need to do that anymore, especially when I'm well equipped to sit down in front of a fucking microphone with people and just produce better results that way. So, you know, long story short, I am very happy right now. Live that life anymore. I used to live at 21 Jackson Street, and that's where all those stories came from the age of 0 to the moment I saw a fucking slacker. Not finished. You asked me a question. Let me answer, bitch. 21 years of aggregated experience get me to the point where I'm like, I got to tell those stories. Once I tell those stories, there's nothing new to replace them because I haven't been living a real life. I've been living a movie life where I get up and I go to a movie set and somebody gives me money to make pretend for a living. So you'll have experiences, obviously, in that life, but not the same kind of experiences that are going to make the fucking material connect with people. I stopped being a real person, you know, at a certain point. I stopped being the guy who was connected to that material because I was no longer connected to it. All those movies were written in my head, pre-written at 21 Jackson Street. Once those ties get cut, and not where I'm like, today I'm a man, fuck you parents, and I'm still fucking very friendly with my mother, and I was friendly with my father until he died. That wasn't the difference. The difference is, once I went out on my own, had a fucking house and shit like that, my own place to live, and all I did was work for a living, I stopped being a fucking normal person and stopped, for my money, having interesting things to say in cinema. Because that, to me, was my currency. Individuality, something that no one else could say. But now everybody kind of says what I say. In movies, at least, or can, has the ability to. So at that point, I'm like, I'm irrelevant. Might as well go over here where I can make an impact. I want to do it as a play. So I was, especially like when I was, and this wasn't even before I saw Book of Mormon. I'm not going to do a musical, I'm not that talented. But we went to see a seminar, a play that Alan Rickman was in. And it was absolutely, you've seen it, it was a wonderful fucking show. Now Jeff Goldblum's in it instead of Alan Rickman. We saw it with Rickman. And it was great. It was a one-act story. You know, they do kind of fade to blacks or drop out, blackouts and stuff. But one long act, about 90 minutes or something like that. And as I'm watching it, and it's wonderful theater, not too big, not too small and shit. Proximity to the stage was great. The miking system nowadays, you could hear pitch perfect. And I'm sitting there watching this going, all those nights that we would sit in Quick Stop and rehearse Clerks. This is exactly what it was like. Everyone, when people saw that movie, people would be like, it's like a play. And I was like, that's because that's how we rehearsed it, like a fucking play. That's the only way I know how to direct shit. I'd never made a movie before, but I've been in high school plays, so I was like, let's kind of put it up like a play. So to come back for Clerks 3 to do a play, to me would make more sense. I was watching that play and I was like, yeah, this is where I could do Clerks. That would make me excited to do a fucking live show of it. So I'm standing in New York on the balcony of my hotel, and I'm smoking in the morning, and I was like, I gotta tell somebody. And I wrote an email to the one person who will be the hurdle on this. And I don't mean a hurdle in a bad way, but the hurdle, the person I'm gonna have to convince, and that's Jeff Anderson. So I wrote Jeff Anderson this email. I said, on February 7th, I said, you're the first person I'm gonna tell. Clerks 3 is gonna be a play on Broadway. We'll do a 6-month run and sell out the entirety of the advance. Are you up for 6 shows a week live, sir? And he wrote back, better lay off the weeds, sir. Come on up, dude. You're adorable, man. You're coming up? It's a fucking family.
Whoa.
Yes. Open it later. We. You're sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. You brought your kids too. How cool. You're fucking cool, Mom, aren't you?
I know your movies look nice, like.
Right on. Your mom's a milf, kids. Clerk's jersey, sir. How are you?
I'm Elias from San Francisco.
Elias, get out of here, man. That's awesome.
Crazy, man. Yeah, you read my first tweet about wanting a hug and a picture, bitching about it. Yeah, just a quick question. It's been 2 years, man. I want to know if you're coming back down to WonderCon at all.
I didn't go. It just happened recently.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we were out on the road. But I wasn't this year, but I was last year.
In
Right?
2010, that was actually the first time I saw you. You were in 2011. And
Was I not in 2001? I don't know. Shit, that's right. We missed 2 years. We had to stay 1 year, and then this year we were, I think, in England or somewhere. Just coming back from Texas. Next year, I love that fucking show, and that's a wonderful room. And it's all part of the Comic-Con International family, and they're always really good to me in San Diego. So I always try to go to WonderCon as well because you get the same welcome feeling. Unfortunately, the last 2 years were busy, but next year for sure, easily. That's a cool fucking show to do. And it's a show. It's one of the only fucking comic book shows, big shows, that you go to still, and it's still about fucking comics. You can go out on the floor and actually find people retailing comic books. That's rare as a fucking pony corn. You want to take a picture? Come on up.
Yeah.
You sit right there. Ooh, what was that? Wait.
Kevin Smith was definitely awesome. The thing I like about book signings better than conventions when it comes to meeting celebrities you want to meet is it's definitely more personal. There's less of a crowd, and you get more time with them. Yeah, he was really nice in person. So, if you ever have an opportunity to go to a Kevin Smith book signing, I would recommend it. So please rate, subscribe, comment on this video so I can see how I'm doing. And you have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.